representing my family. My cousin's 96 years old. She was a whack in England. She's still around. She's in Lake Worth.
Terrific.
Today.
Oh, that was so nice of you to do that.
My uncle served in the Philippines in World War II. My cousin served in Vietnam.
Oh my goodness, okay, family.
Whole family warriors.
Yeah.
Warriors.
Warriors, yeah.
And my other cousin used to go to the vets up in the VA hospital, bring bagels there every Tuesday.
Oh, now.
His name was Al.
Your father has been bragging about you. So nice to finally meet you.
Yes, very pleasure.
Okay.
Very glad to.
So you understand, you're Air Force and you're Air Force. So did he influence your decision?
I told him a week before I was leaving. He had no idea. So, by the way, I'm leaving next week.
Well, that's sort of how my son did it. Because my son was in college when he said, enjoying the you say what?
Yeah, what can you say?
I said, well, you did it and you turned out all right.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad
Everyone's
that everyone came back. It was nice to have all of you here. It's good we got women represented. That's
Absolutely.
right. Who's here that could tell me?
First Aid Cavalry Division of the VFW.
Oh, wow. And you're with us, Jen?
I'm with him. I'm serving him, as we say at the meetings. Still serving.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, Max House and I, Jerry, Vietnam, First Scout, also. And,
Did you know each other?
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
No, did you know each other?
no, not before.
Different years.
Not until we both came down here from New York.
Okay.
But we're the one that holds the Veterans Day Parade. So we have been.
I love that parade. Yeah.
Yeah, we've
I
been
know,
dealing,
we miss
we've been
Dennis.
dealing with you before.
Very close friends with Dennis.
Yeah.
I've known Dennis since, well, you know, he was but I knew him from law school back in those days. Yeah.
From that far back.
That far back. Yeah. Okay, what do we have? We have a little marine over here.
Yeah, West Point Dad,
Army?
class of 99,
Wow, nice.
nominated by Senator Connemark, Bob Graham.
Is that right?
He was the first out of Lake Worth with the Lake Worth High with the tryout of admit school. He did the ROTC program that is staged for this championship up into Alabama for the drill team. Went to MacDill Air Force Base, got his nomination. Successfully completed.
No cheese.
On the red.
Well done, no cheese.
Who was this little one?
Check on this.
On the red.
My little buddy here, my little son, I'm raising him to be like his other brothers.
All right, excellent. Very Frankel. I'm the proud daughter of a U.S. Coast Guard veteran, and of course the proud mother of our chef tonight, my son Ben, right here. It's very funny because I first ran for office in 1986. I was running for State House. Ben was about 8 years old, and they were interviewing all the kids of the candidates, and they said to him, "Why should your mom get elected?" And I read in the papers the next day that my son Ben said, "My mom should get elected because she can't cook." So I cannot say I'm the inspiration of his performance tonight, but I want to say this. You know, probably many of you remember me as mayor of West Palm Beach, and you know, to me, West Palm Beach really, what we did in West Palm Beach. I became mayor about 10 years ago after a stint in the legislature, and what we did in West Palm Beach, I think, is a good example of how government and the private sector can work together to make things happen. Do you remember this town, city 10 years ago, right? Lots of crime, the road construction, a lot of businesses boarding up, and here's what we did. We, together as a team, the political leaders, our neighborhoods, our business leaders, we identified the issues that were challenging us. We rolled up our sleeves and we got to work. Made some very strategic investments, worked with small businesses. We balanced our budget, and we made this a city where people want to be. But the biggest compliment came to me as a mom and as a mayor from this young man here. Ben was born in Good Samaritan Hospital, graduated Suncoast High School, and then went off to the University of Florida. One day he calls me and says, "Mom, I'm joining the Marines." I was proud but nervous. And when he graduated, Ben went in as a lieutenant, and he proudly served us. I saw him go off to 2 wars, Afghanistan and Iraq. I'm blessed that he's back. But this is the best compliment for me. He left this area for 15 years. And when he came back, he looked around and he said, "You know what, Mom, I really love this city." And he's put down roots. He's got a small business. I'm going to give it a plug. It's called The Blind Monk. It's a lovely little wine bar on Ivernia between Quadrille and Dixie. I know he would love to see you all there. And so anyway, Ben now, I call him my Renaissance man. He is now in Culinary Institute in New York City, where he's learning the food business so that he can apply it to his Tapas wine bar. And so Ben, I know I say thank you for everybody. Pretty good. You make a pretty mean hamburger, right? So I thank you for your service and for being a wonderful son.
You know, I think when you join the military and the Marines, with Army, Marines, Air Force, Navy, one of the things I learned was, how to be a leader and what responsibility was. And there's some principles and traits that you learn going through that they use. And what I think back about growing up, I learned most how to be a leader from my mom. Integrity, a lot of politicians get a bad rap, but Mom, you're the most honest person I know, the most principled person I know. Dedication and commitment, no matter how hard things are, mission accomplishment. And that was you, whether you faced so many roadblocks physically and literally as mayor, but you stuck to your principles, you never wavered, you believed in it. You may agree or disagree, but at least she's committed to that. So integrity and commitment was huge in the Marines. I've seen from you growing up. So I support you. Congress has decides who goes to war and who doesn't. And for many in Congress, it's this abstract idea. They're not in touch with the real, the real implications of it. They may understand if it's a national security issue or not, or have an opinion on foreign policy, but the impact of those decisions to go to war is really carried by a small percentage of the population. Not just the military, but their families. A small percentage. And it's a real big implication. And so when Congress is making these decisions, I mean, it's one thing to say that, yeah, this is in our national interest, but to really know the implications and then make that decision, I think that's important. And knowing that you know what the consequences of that vote is, for me, makes me feel very confident that we'll think it through and make sure.
So let me just tell you a little bit about the campaign and why I decided to run. But as I said, I think we were a good example of how people can work together to improve where they live. And as I got to the end of my term, I really was going to take a cruise. I said, you know what, I'm going to take some time off. And one day I'm out in the city, and a lady ran up to me and she said, Mayor, please give me a job. I'll take anything. She says, I've worked my entire life. I have been out of a job for a year now. Can you help me? And here's what I realized. I realized that, despite our best efforts in a recession here in this county to make things better, we were still subject to the world economy and what was going on in America. Too many people losing their jobs, houses going underwater, college becoming too expensive, retirement accounts shrinking up. And this woman said to me, what is wrong with Washington? Why are these people They're always fighting each other. They're never fighting for us. And I just said to myself, you know what? It's not time for a cruise. And I said, you know what? I had the experience. I was in the legislature where, you know, I learned how to cross party lines when it was necessary, stand my ground when I had to, and as a mayor, balance the budget, create jobs, and of course, as a mother of a war veteran, I really understand, as Ben said, the implications of sending our loved ones to war. And I felt that that niche of experience really, you know, prepared me to go to Washington and try to work with other like-minded people who want to get something done for this country. And let me tell you, the people in District 22, I'm running a district. It starts in Plantation and Broward, goes into Fort Lauderdale, and then up the coast through Delray and Boynton, and, West Palm Beach and Riviera Beach coming up the coast. They're going to have a real choice between myself and my opponent. And here's the difference. You know what? When it comes to our economy and getting control of our deficit, I believe the first best thing we need to do is to get people back to work. I invest in our infrastructure, in research and development, education, and jobs here. My opponent, he boldly supports the Ryan budget that will give another $250,000 back each year to millionaires who don't need it, and instead cut scholarships from students, Pell Grants from students, cut Alzheimer's research, raise the cost of prescription drugs. And the people that I talk to, they don't think that's a good idea. And when it comes to Medicare, maybe a few in here that are on Medicare. I know my mother is, right, Mom? Listen, Medicare is the health care of millions of Americans. And I can promise you this, I'm not going to balance a budget by reducing the benefits to people who need health care. Instead, we need to look at rooting out waste and finding more efficient ways to deliver Medicare, focusing on prevention and on outcomes. Mr. Hasner, he wants to change Medicare as we know it, turn it upside down, create a voucher program that's going to cost seniors $6,000 more a year minimum out of their pocket, and then, when people are their oldest and their sickest, put them at the mercy of private insurance companies. And I can tell you this, nobody I talk to wants that. And so finally, let me conclude by saying this. How grateful I am for the people who have served this country, like the folks in this room. You know what? Everybody says that, right? And I think we all mean it. I never realized, I will admit, I never really realized what it meant until my son joined the Marines. And so I can promise you this, in terms of whether we're sending our loved ones into war, making sure that they have the tools that they need to keep them safe, making sure that they have the care that veterans deserve, are entitled to when they return, making sure that they can find a job if they need to. That will be a priority for me. And I promise that you can always count on me to be there for you, always. Thank you very much for your support. And I look forward to your advice and counsel.
Thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your service.
All right.